What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League Podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak, and this is going to be the 2026 NFL Mock Draft 2.0. Post-Super Bowl, the Super Bowl is done. We saw the Seahawks beat the Patriots and really kick their ass in that game. So, we're going to try to make all these teams better and get into this mock draft and update you guys on, coaching stuff and all the different movement of the offseason so far. It's the beginning of the offseason. You know what I mean? We've got the coaching hirings. We got free agency right around the corner. So it's exciting times. The NFL never sleeps. You know what I mean? The season ends, yet there's plenty of stuff to talk about. There's plenty of stuff to be, keeping sharp on and keeping updated on because the news cycle keeps turning and I'm excited going through these draft picks, looking at what these teams need. This is a really good draft. Quarterbacks, it's a weak class, right? Not a lot of quarterbacks in this one that are worth taking high in the draft especially. But everything else, all the other positions, it's a loaded draft. And you're going to find that out as we go through this, especially wide receivers, pass rushers, all that good stuff. So here we go. Let's get into it. The Las Vegas Raiders hold the number 1 overall pick. They got new head coach Klint Kubiak, who comes over from the Seahawks. He was the Seahawks offensive coordinator. He helped develop Sam Darnold into a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So a new era starts in Vegas. They fired Pete Carroll after one season, going 3-14. They've got running back Ashton Jeanty going into his second year. You got star tight end Brock Bowers going into his third year. And everyone knows who this pick is going to be. It's Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. I don't think any of us saw Indiana having the type of season they had this year, going 16-0. Fernando Mendoza wins the Heisman Award. They win the national championship, a perfect season. Fernando Mendoza led the country with 41 touchdown passes. I mean, incredible performance by the Indiana Hoosiers and head coach Curt Cignetti. And so here's Fernando Mendoza. He's going to go number 1 overall. He's going to be the quarterback of the future for the Las Vegas Raiders. And we'll see how he handles it. We'll see how the organization handles it. You got Tom Brady in the mix there in Vegas. So it's a lot to look forward to if you're a Raiders fan. I mean, you plug Fernando Mendoza in with Ashton Jeanty and Brock Bowers, and then you go add a wide receiver or two. Suddenly, you got, this thing starts getting easier and the team starts getting better real quickly. So I'm excited to see what Fernando Mendoza does with the Raiders. But this is a lock. The Raiders are not trading this pick away. They're not taking anybody else. This is Fernando Mendoza all the way. And it's an obvious need. Geno Smith is likely going to be gone. He led the NFL in interceptions with 17. You got Kenny Pickett and Aiden O'Connell on the roster right now as the other quarterbacks. So, you got to upgrade at quarterback. And I think Fernando Mendoza, there's been some question about how good of an NFL quarterback he's going to be. I think he's going to be an excellent pro quarterback. And I think he's going to a good situation with Tom Brady there making decisions, with Klint Kubiak. I know he's a rookie head coach, but he's had success with quarterbacks, and he runs the Kubiak system going back to Gary Kubiak, his father. And Gary Kubiak had a lot of success with Matt Schaub with the Texans. Won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning in Denver. So we'll see if Klint Kubiak can make a name for himself here after, leading the Seahawks to a Super Bowl as their offensive play caller, and did a great job, calling plays for the Seahawks this last year. So Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall pick to the Raiders. Easy start to mock draft 2.0. That's the same as in my 1.0. Let's go to pick number 2, the New York Jets. And this one is an easy pick for me as well, the same as my 1.0. I'm going linebacker Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. He's 6'4", 245, a versatile and athletic linebacker. And he's from the same mold of Micah Parsons and Abdul Carter. They're quote-unquote off-ball linebackers, but they're also elite pass rushers. And they're like a linebacker hybrid. You can move them around. You can have them play in the middle, but bring them on blitz. And you can also put them on the edge. And you can drop them in coverage. There's literally nothing that these guys can't do. That's why they're so valuable. That's why they go so high in the draft. Micah Parsons, you saw the impact he had in Green Bay this last year when he was healthy. Abdul Carter, everyone knows how talented that dude is. On top of that, linebacker Quincy Williams is a free agent and unlikely to return. So for the Jets. So after that, you got Jamien Sherwood. So Arvell Reese is a need, and it makes a lot of sense. And he's worthy of going number 2 overall. It's not like they're reaching for him or anything. He's athletic. He's got the speed to chase down, the Lamar Jacksons and the Josh Allens, and he's got the strength to stop the run. So he's an athletic and physical linebacker. He's going to be excellent. Now the Jets also need a quarterback, right? But again, like I said at the beginning of this episode, this is a very weak quarterback draft class. The only guy they could consider taking is Ty Simpson, and you're not going to take Ty Simpson at number 2 overall. So I think the Jets have 3 first-round picks next year, and next year is supposed to be a much better quarterback class. So I think the Jets are going to wait on taking a quarterback high in the draft. I think they're going to trade for a veteran quarterback. They're going to try to bring in someone like a Kyler Murray, or maybe bring Geno Smith back. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is there, but Kyler Murray seems to make a lot of sense for the Jets here. Bringing a veteran quarterback, and you don't have a lot of options. The Jets are staring down a major long rebuild here, and they've got a lot more needs right now than just the quarterback position. Again, they traded away their 2 best defensive players last year in Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. So they've got a lot to, a lot of roster moves to rebuild this roster and make it competitive again. We'll see if Aaron Glenn can turn this Jets team around, but it's a good start getting Arvell Reese. He's a hell of a playmaker in the middle of that defense. So good top 2 picks. Let's go to pick number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. And they're going to go tackle Francis Magoa. I'm not sure how to say this guy's name, but he's an excellent tackle. 6'6", 315. He can play tackle or guard. He's going to be playing tackle. He's a big, strong, physical tackle with athleticism, foot speed to pull and make every block needed. Arizona's going to need to protect whoever their starting quarterback is in 2026. This is another team that has no idea who the quarterback is going to be, or at least I don't have any idea who their quarterback is going to be going into 2026. Kyler Murray is gone. That didn't work out, so they're going to move on there. It's a new regime. They got a new head coach, Mike LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's younger brother takes over. He's a first-time head coach. He takes over with the Cardinals, and he did a good job as offensive coordinator with the Jets and the Rams. So this is another team that's going on a long rebuild here. And but you got to get that left tackle, right? You got to get that franchise tackle and protect whoever it is at quarterback. So good pick here, Francis Mauigoa out of Miami. Let's go pick number 4 with the Tennessee Titans. And we're going defensive end Ruben Bain out of Miami, 6'3", 275. And imagine new head coach Robert Saleh, right? And he's a defensive guy, and he did a great job with the 49ers defense, navigating all those injuries last year and still being very competitive. And now here he comes to the Titans as head coach. He's looking to do better than he did with the Jets. He was just 20-36 as the Jets head coach. But he brings in offensive coordinator Brian Daboll. And you think about this defensive line, you're adding Ruben Bain to Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat. That right there, that is a nasty D-line already, with rookie Ruben Bain. And it's a need. Jeffrey Simmons led the team with 11 sacks last year. Nobody else had more than 5. And so you're hoping that Ruben Bain can come in and help with the pass rush, help get sacks. And Ruben Bain is one of these guys that he's versatile as well. He's good against the run and the pass, and he can play outside as an edge rusher. He can also move inside at 275 pounds and rush from the middle against the guards and center. So he's a good, versatile player here. It makes a lot of sense going Ruben Bain here. He fits what Robert Saleh's trying to build, which is a nasty defense in Tennessee. And I like it. I think it's a great pick here, Ruben Bain at 4. And then I like the hire of Brian Daboll as offensive coordinator. He gets a lot of credit for the development of Josh Allen into a franchise quarterback. So this is great news for Cam Ward. Getting to work with a guy like Brian Daboll. He had success with Jackson Dart and a little bit with Daniel Jones, but he's known for developing Josh Allen. So hopefully he can do the same thing with Cam Ward in Nashville with the Titans. So let's go to pick number 5 here. The New York Giants. And I love this pick. You got a new head coach, John Harbaugh, comes over. He got fired by the Ravens. If we go back in time, week 18, John Harbaugh gets fired after Tyler Loop misses what would have been a game-winning field goal that would have sent the Ravens to the playoffs, would have won them the division. Instead, they missed the playoffs entirely, and John Harbaugh gets fired. Well, the Giants, suddenly, as soon as John Harbaugh got fired, there was like 12, 13 teams all calling, trying to get John Harbaugh to be their next head coach. And the Giants won it. The Giants won the sweepstakes for John Harbaugh. It's an excellent hire. They signed him to a 5-year deal. And with him comes offensive coordinator Matt Nagy, who is the Chiefs offensive coordinator and a former Bears head coach. But wide receiver is a need for this team. Malik Nabers is coming off of a torn ACL. Darius Slayton is likely to be traded this offseason. He's had his issues. He had some drops, last year. Wan'Dale Robinson led the team with 92 catches. So why not add wide receiver, take the best wide receiver available? I got the Giants taking Carnell Tate out of Ohio State, a 6'3", 195 wide receiver. And you pair him with Malik Nabers, and the vision that I get is Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And we know how damn good that wide receiver duo is. And the Giants, Jackson Dart would absolutely love to have Malik Nabers and Carnell Tate at 1 and 2. And then you got Wan'Dale Robinson, who's capable of catching 100 balls for you in the slot. So the Giants offense looks a lot better based on that one move. I think that's an excellent pick here, Carnell Tate to the Giants. And I just think it puts everyone back in their rightful spots. Nabers is the number 1 wide receiver, but he's not getting all of the attention now with a guy like Carnell Tate. And Tate, Nabers, if anyone's getting doubled, it's going to be Nabers. So Tate's going to get, better looks. He's going to get the number 2 corner. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, isn't the number 1 guy getting all the targets anymore. Now he can kind of do his thing and be a reliable, third option. So I like this a lot for the Giants. I think they can be a team to watch going into 2026 with the new coaching staff and the new weapons on this team. We know how good their defensive line is. And now you get the receivers up to par with Jackson Dart and Cam Skattebo. Man, you're cooking something in New York. So I like how that's looking for the Giants. At pick number 6, we got the Cleveland Browns. And this is where I went tackle Spencer Fano out of Utah. 6'6", 305, versatile athlete with power and pull ability at the tackle position. The Browns hired Todd Monken to be their next head coach. I was surprised by this. He's a former Browns offensive coordinator back in 2019. He was the Ravens OC from 2023 through 25. I thought the Browns were just going to promote Jim Schwartz to head coach. He had done such an elite job with that defense. And in the process of not promoting him, now you pissed him off, and now he wants he doesn't want to be on the team anymore. So that's a frustrating aspect of that. Todd Monken's never been a head coach before, so you got that aspect. And then Myles Garrett, is kind of frustrated by the decision, to piss off Jim Schwartz. So we'll see what happens with Myles Garrett this offseason. But hopefully the Browns can keep him. He just broke the NFL record for sacks in a season. You obviously want to keep him. The Browns are, the quarterback position is interesting here for Cleveland because Deshaun Watson is expected to be healthy and expected to be wanting to start next year. And outside of Deshaun Watson, what do you have? Two young developing quarterbacks in Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. So at this moment, Deshaun Watson is in line to start 2026. They'll probably have a quarterback competition, in camp and preseason, but I don't anticipate Shedeur or Gabriel beating out Deshaun Watson for the starting job. And then on top of that, you have to factor in how much money Deshaun Watson's getting paid. I just think the politics of the whole thing are going to lead to Deshaun Watson starting the season. Whoever is starting at quarterback, you need to have a good left tackle, and that's where Spencer Fano comes in. So, I think that's a no-brainer for the Browns at pick 6, and we'll see what they look like going into the 2026 season. We got free agency coming up, the Combine. This is only Mock Draft 2.0, so I'm probably going to do like 5 of these things, so we're going to keep them coming all off season long, leading up to the draft in Pittsburgh. Pick number 7, the Washington Commanders. I got them going edge David Bailey out of Texas Tech. He's 6'3", 250. He led college football with 14.5 sacks in 2025 with the Red Raiders. The Commanders are losing their leading sacker, Von Miller. And he's a free agent, and he's mentioned multiple times now that he's trying to go back to the Broncos for 2026, try to win a championship with Denver, and then retire. So that's cool. That's an interesting thing as a football fan to kind of think about Von Miller going back to the Broncos and their already loaded defense. And then for the Commanders, they're desperately in need of pass rush help. You got Dietrich Wise and Jacob Martin are both free agents. Dorrance Armstrong is the only guy there. He's got 5.5 sacks. Head coach Dan Quinn knows his defense needs to play a lot better in 2026. They really struggled last year. And so David Bailey makes a ton of sense to me. He's a sack machine. He's going to improve this defense immediately. Now, they could also go Ohio State defenders. They could go safety Caleb Downs or linebacker Sonny Styles. I know Bobby Wagner is leaning towards retirement, so Sonny Styles would make a lot of sense here. But I just feel like pass rush is their number one need. And so David Bailey, to me, makes a lot of sense here at number 7 to the Commanders. Now, one thing that I don't understand for Washington is they lost Cliff Kingsbury, right? And they hired David Blau to be their new offensive coordinator. And I do not understand that at all. He's never called plays before. He's a practice squad quarterback. I don't get this move at all. I don't have much faith at all in David Blau's ability to orchestrate this offense and put Jaden Daniels in the best position to be successful. I just don't see it. I don't like unproven play callers. And David Blau is not someone that it's not a sexy hire. It's not someone that is going to get the fan base excited. You call him David Blau. I call him David Blow because I think the offense is going to suck. But anyways, Let's go to the New Orleans Saints at pick number 8. And this is the easiest pick of the draft. Fernando Mendoza arguably is the easiest. It's the no-brainer. This one is way too easy. And I can't believe I've seen some mock drafts not making this pick. Maybe they're just trying to be different, trying to get clicks or whatever. But this is super easy. This is running back Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. Best running back in this draft class by far. And the Saints are desperate to upgrade the running game. Alvin Kamara led the team with just 471 yards rushing last year. That's terrible. And let me do a little trivia for you guys. Do you know who led the Saints in rushing touchdowns in 2025? Who was it? Was it Alvin Kamara? Was it even a running back? No, it wasn't. It was rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck. Led the team with 3 rushing touchdowns. That's absolutely terrible. You have to upgrade the running back position. And why not take the guy who's an absolute touchdown machine? He had 18 rushing touchdowns last year with Notre Dame. The Doak Walker Award winner for the best running back in college football. He's a Heisman finalist, and he broke Jerome Bettis's Notre Dame total touchdown record. So this guy is an absolute touchdown machine. He's an excellent running back all around. He can pass catch. He can run between the tackles. He can run up the middle. He's physical. He can bounce it outside. He's got speed. This guy, I heard some people saying that if Jeremiah Love came out last year, he might have gone ahead of Ashton Jeanty. That's how highly they're praising this guy. And it's not for no reason. I mean, this guy jumps off the screen. He's an excellent running back, and it is a perfect fit. Makes total sense. Surround Tyler Shuck with weapons, and why not put the best running back, an elite running back behind him or next to him, and help out your young quarterback. And Tyler Shuck was a pleasant surprise in 2025, and you don't want to rest on that. You want to continue to build around him and get the most out of him, get him developed into the franchise quarterback you want him to be. So Jeremiah Love is the perfect fit here for the Saints at number 8 overall. So, that's a no-brainer for me. At pick number 9, the Kansas City Chiefs. I have them going corner Mansour Delane out of LSU. 6 foot, 190, an excellent man corner with elite tackling skills. You pair up Delane with Trent McDuffie, and instantly you have one of the best corner duos in the entire league. So why not, if you're a Chiefs fan, draft this guy. He's the best corner available, in my opinion. It makes a lot of sense. You could go defensive line, edge or D tackle with Chris Jones getting older and wanting to get after the pass rush. If the Commanders don't take David Bailey, the Chiefs could take David Bailey here. You could go running back here. If Jeremiah Love is available, I could absolutely see the Chiefs taking Jeremiah Love. But in this mock, those guys are already taken. So for me, it's an easy pick to take Mansour Delane. I'm a big fan of his. So that will help the Chiefs defense out in the secondary. The Chiefs also bring back Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator, who replaces Matt Nagy, who went to the Giants. And this might reunite some things here in Kansas City. It might just be Eric Bieniemy comes back, and now you've got guys like Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill talking about how they want to reunite with Eric Bieniemy. So maybe the Chiefs run it back with the veterans in 2026. We'll see what happens there. Of course, you got star quarterback Patrick Mahomes rehabbing off of his torn ACL, but he's hoping to be ready for week 1. So some reasons to be excited in Kansas City, and Mansour Delane would definitely do that. Let's go to pick 10 to round out our top 10 here. We got the Cincinnati Bengals taking safety Caleb Downs out of Ohio State at number 10. 6 foot, 205, an elite playmaking safety that instantly improves the defense. He's great in coverage, great tackling. He's a ball hawk, but he also brings physicality. He's just a football player. And that's what this Bengals defense is in desperate need of. They're losing Geno Stone in free agency, so definitely makes some sense here to address the safety position. Caleb Downs is worthy of going higher than top 10, but, this is the best fit for him, and I think he will fall a little bit. So this is a good value pick for the Bengals. And Al Golden, the defensive coordinator, knows he has to improve that defense. That defense was so terrible the last couple of years. It wasn't Al Golden's defense, in 2024, but it wasn't much better last year. And so hopefully drafting a guy like Caleb Downs can help it improve. We'll see what happens with defensive end Trey Hendrickson, if he's on the team or not. So you could go pass rush, you could go interior defensive tackle, but with Geno Stone leaving, this makes a lot of sense. Going Caleb Downs here, the talent jumps off the screen, so that's an easy pick for me with the Bengals at 10. That rounds out our top 10. Let's go pick number 11. And I'm going to go for the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to go corner Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee. 6 foot, 195 corner. He missed the 2025 season with a torn ACL, but this is a desperate need for the Dolphins. They need corner help in the worst way imaginable. Storm Duck isn't getting it done. You got to upgrade. But this guy, Jermod McCoy, he's a ball hawk. He's got great coverage skills. He's an excellent tackling corner. So this makes a lot of sense. Plus, you got a new head coach coming in Jeff Hafley, who's a defensive guy. He was the Packers defensive coordinator in 2024 and 2025. He's got head coaching experience at Boston College from 2020 to 2023. Corner to me, makes a ton of sense here. The Dolphins could also go wide receiver, but I just feel like corner is the number one need. And they got new defensive coordinator Sean Duggan, who's been with Jeff Hafley at Boston College and Green Bay. So, no-brainer pick for me going Jermod McCoy here to the Dolphins at 11. And we'll see. I get the feeling the Dolphins are in for a bit of a rebuild. Tua is likely gone. All signs are pointing to them going after like Malik Willis in free agency from Green Bay, which would be very interesting. I like Malik Willis a lot. Loved him coming out of the draft out of Liberty. And so we'll see what the Dolphins look like in 2026, but they're going through a bit of a rebuild as well. So we'll see how that looks. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys at pick number 12. And I'm going to go linebacker Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. 6'4", 245, off-ball linebacker. He's a versatile athlete, former safety turned linebacker. He's an elite defender versus the run and the pass. He can sack the quarterback or he can drop into coverage. He's an off-ball linebacker with ball skills. And you put Sonny Styles next to DeMarvion Overshown, and holy shit, like that's an elite linebacker combination. As long as Overshown can stay healthy and stay on the field, that is a nasty two inside linebackers. I love that. Both of them can rush the passer. Both of them can cover. That would improve that Cowboys defense in a hurry. And new defensive coordinator Christian Parker comes over. He's a former defensive backs coach after they fired Eberflus. So I just feel like the Cowboys defense is going to be much improved in 2026, and this is the first step to improving it by drafting a guy like Sonny Styles, who could very easily, he's got the talent to be a top 10 pick, but you get him at number 12. Also, it's a need because Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn are both free agents. Corner is also a need, but with 2 first-round picks, the Cowboys can probably get both. So Sonny Styles at pick number 12 here for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go pick 13, the Los Angeles Rams, who came up short in the NFC Championship game. And they're going to go wide receiver Makai Lemon out of USC. So he's going to stay in LA. Doesn't have to go far at all. He's a hometown kid. 5'11", 195 wide receiver. And imagine this guy. I mean, he's a hell of a wide receiver talent. And he can be your number 3 option with Puka and Devontae there. And then Devontae, is on his last leg. So, when Devontae retires, then you can move Makai Lemon seamlessly into the number 2 position next to Puka. So I love this pick. And with Stafford coming back for one more year likely, you add Makai Lemon to it, that is a loaded offense, So I love this pick for the Rams here. Now, they could go corner, absolutely, if Mansour Delane or Jermon McCoy are available, but in this mock, they aren't. They could also go Jordan Tyson at wide receiver. I like Makai Lemon slightly above Jordan Tyson, especially for the Rams here. I just feel like Makai Lemon fits the Rams better than Jordan Tyson would. A perfect fit. Like I said, Devontae Adams is getting older. He's 33 years old. You need to be looking to replace him soon. And then outside of that, you've got 6th and 7th round picks at wide receiver, Jordan Whittington and Kenota Mumfield. So you need to upgrade that. This is a no-brainer in my opinion. So you got Makai Lemon, who's a catch and run, a big play wide receiver. So I like that a lot for the Rams there at 13. They also hired Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coach. His role hasn't been decided yet, but that's a good hire for the Rams. You got a lot of brain power over there with Kingsbury and McVay and all those guys. So, yeah, if the Rams get Makai Lemon to go with that offense, that's going to be something scary. Pick number 14, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to go defensive tackle Peter Woods out of Clemson. 6'3", 315 monster on the D-line. The Ravens need pass rush help desperately. Defensive tackle Travis Jones led the team with 5 sacks last year. Defensive tackle Justin Matabuke coming off a serious neck injury. That was almost, career threatening. So we'll see what happens with him. They got a new head coach in Jesse Minter, takes over from John Harbaugh. He's a defensive coach. He was with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan and with the Chargers since 2022. So Jesse Minter, nice hire for the Ravens. Pass rushers Draymond Jones and Kyle Van Noy are both free agents. They got a new defensive coordinator in Anthony Weaver who comes over from the Dolphins, and I'm a fan of. But, they could definitely go edge rusher as well. Like I said, they need pass rush. So you could go Cassius Howell or Keldrick Folk. Also, defensive tackle Caleb Banks is in play. But I can't let Peter Woods fall, man. He's too talented. And I know that people are kind of hating on him and he's falling in some of the mocks. I had him falling in one of my mocks all the way to the Bears at 25, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? This makes no sense. And of course I scooped him up to the Bears, but I just don't see any way possible that Peter Woods lasts into the 20s. So it makes a lot of sense here. If you're the Ravens, why wouldn't you want a guy like Peter Woods on your defense? So, Peter Woods at pick 14 to the Ravens. And they get a dog defensive tackle. So you can't be mad at that one. Tampa Bay Bucks at pick 15. I got them taking edge Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M. 6'2", 250. You need some pass rush help opposite Yaya Diaby, who led the team with 7 sacks last year. You got Vita Vea with the second most at 4.5 sacks. So you need pass rush help. This is where Cassius Howell can fill in. Todd Bowles, the head coach, is on the hot seat going into 2026, especially after the Bucs missed the playoffs last year. He knows that his defense needs to perform a lot better than they did last year. And there's questions about, Levante David, their linebacker. Will he retire? So might need to replace him, as soon as possible too. So the Bucs could go a lot of different ways. Either way they go, it's got to be defense here. whether that's edge, off-ball linebacker, defensive tackle, whatever you want to do here. Cassius Howell in this situation makes the most sense to me to help get after the quarterback. So there's pick 15 for the Bucs. Let's go pick 16 to the New York Jets, their second pick of the first round. They took Arvell Reese, number 2 overall. So this is their second pick at number 16. And I got the Jets taking wide receiver Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. 6'2", 200. He can fill in immediately as your number 2 wide receiver next to Garrett Wilson. So that's a hell of a duo immediately, right away. Wilson only played in 7 games last year due to a knee injury, and they were really hurting at wide receiver once he was gone. I mean, at the end of the year, they were throwing to A.D. Mitchell and John Mechie, and those guys are fine as your 3, 4, 5, but you don't want them being your number 1, number 2 options. So drafting Jordan Tyson puts everything back into the order. You get Garrett Wilson back as your number 1. Jordan Tyson can be your 2. And then, if it's A.D. Mitchell, John Mechie, or whoever you got after that, falls in the line a lot easier. The Jets could go defense. I mean, we got to keep hyping the fact that, or keep talking about the fact that the Jets became the first team in NFL history to go an entire season without forcing an interception. So you could definitely go corner here, whether that's Avion Terrell or Colton Hood. But, it's going to be a long rebuild for the Jets. So it wouldn't surprise me if they could go a lot of different ways. They have so many needs on this team, and it's going to be a bit of a rebuild here. But hopefully they're patient and they build it the right way. Like I said, they need a quarterback. But if they wait until next year, they got 3 first-round picks. So they should be able to figure everything out next year and potentially get an Arch Manning or whoever the top quarterback is to come out next year. So patience, Jets fans. I know it sucks. You've been bad for so long. But have patience with Aaron Glenn. Have patience with this team. They're going to be building something here. And we'll see. And if you do bring in a veteran quarterback like a Kyler Murray, I mean, Garrett Wilson and Jordan Tyson, you could do a lot worse than that at receiver. You got Mason Taylor at tight end, so they got some weapons, so we'll see what happens with the Jets. Let's go pick 17. The Detroit Lions are on the clock, and I got them taking tackle Caleb Lomu out of Utah. 6'6", 305, and he can be your starting left tackle opposite Penei Sewell. Taylor Decker, your starting left tackle at this moment. He's thinking about retirement. He could even get released. Dan Skipper retired. So the Lions' offensive line is a little bit in flux right now. Caleb Lomu makes a lot of sense. Now, you could go Caden Proctor here if you wanted, but his draft stock is falling a little bit due to inability to finish blocks and some inconsistencies. Is he a tackle? Is he a guard? Caleb Lomu is the safer pick, in my opinion. And I think that's the direction the Lions are going to go. Priority is to protect Jared Goff. He's quite a bit of a statue back there. So you have to have excellent tackle play. Plus, you want to be able to create holes for your running backs and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll see what the Lions' offense looks like with new OC Drew Petzing coming over from the Cardinals. But the Cardinals' offense underachieved under Petzing. The Lions' offense underachieved last year with John Morton and then Dan Campbell taking over play calling. So this is kind of an uninspiring hire by the Lions going with Drew Petzing. But like Amon-Ra St. Brown says, patience, trust in Dan Campbell, and, we'll see what 2026 looks like. But I think taking a tackle at Caleb Lomu is a smart move here for the Lions. And they prioritize the offensive line, and I expect them to do that again here. That's what the Lions are doing at 17. Let's go to pick 18. The Minnesota Vikings are taking corner Avion Terrell out of Clemson, 5'11", 180. He can immediately be your starting corner next to Byron Murphy. He's a ball hawk corner. He plays very aggressive. And he reminds me a little bit of Peanut Tillman. He had 8 forced fumbles since the beginning of 2024 with Clemson. He's an excellent man-to-man corner, and for whatever reason, he's good at forcing fumbles. So, he's working on that peanut punch, and he can intercept the ball too. I like Avion Terrell a lot. He's A.J. Terrell's younger bro, the Falcons corner. So, NFL pedigree. This makes a lot of sense for the Vikings. You got Brian Flores, a defensive coordinator, coming back for another year. He signed a new extension, so that Vikings defense is not getting any worse. They're going to be getting better. We'll see what happens with Harrison Smith at safety. He's considering retirement. So if he does retire, the Vikings could draft safety Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo here. They could easily do that. But I'm going Avion Terrell. There's a chance McNeil Warren could be available in the second round. There's a chance. Not a high one, but it's a chance. I mean, it's a good safety. But I just like Avion Terrell a lot here, and he seems like a really good fit with the Vikings. So that's the route I went. Carolina Panthers. You could go a lot of different routes here for the Panthers. But I went with tight end Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon, 6'3", 245, and he'd instantly be the number one tight end for the Panthers. They got a weak tight end room, Tommy Tremble and Jatavion Sanders. So Kenyon Sadiq comes in, and he's instantly the most talented tight end, right? And he's got excellent receiving skills for a tight end. He's a good blocker. He's got run after the catch talent. And he'd be a safety blanket, a safety valve for a quarterback like Bryce Young, something he desperately needs. And you're starting to see progression out of Bryce Young. After a really up and down first 2 years in the league, you're starting to see Bryce Young get comfortable and have some more success. I mean, he led the Panthers to a division championship, hosted a playoff game. So all signs are pointing in the right direction for Carolina. Tedero McMillan at wide receiver and Xavier Legette. So continue to build around Bryce Young. Continue to give him weapons. I love giving him a safety blanket like a Kenyon Sadiq. When Bryce Young gets in trouble, he can do those quick little dump-off passes or flip passes to find an open Kenyon Sadiq in space, and then he's a catch-and-run guy and break tackles and whatever. So I think this is an excellent fit for Carolina. Now, you could go pass rush, you could go D-line, defensive tackle, Peter Woods or Caleb Banks here as well if available. But I went with Kenyon Sadiq. I think he either goes here or to the Eagles. But I think the Panthers, if your priority is to get the most out of Bryce Young, I don't know how you don't go Kenyon Sadiq here, just in my opinion. So that's what I did. And hopefully, the Panthers can build on a surprising, successful 2025 and win 9 or more games in 2026 and repeat as division champions. But that division is going to be getting a lot tougher. Everyone's going to be feisty. So, we'll see. Let's go to pick 20, the Dallas Cowboys. They already took Sonny Styles, and now I give them corner Colton Hood out of Tennessee. 6', 190 corner. You can add him to Deron Bland and Savon Ravel. You got a new defensive coordinator in Christian Parker, who is a longtime DB coach. So that gives him a nice, young, talented secondary. And if you get Sonny Styles and Colton Hood, that's a home run. Two first-round picks for the Cowboys defense, That would have them getting improved in a hurry with those 2 picks. I think it's a slight reach for Colton Hood here. I mean, I would prefer to go Avion Terrell, But in this mock, he's not available, so I went with Colton Hood. Corner's a major need for Dallas, so it's not a huge reach. I think Colton Hood's a good corner, so I like the fit here. And you come away with Sonny Styles and Colton Hood. How can you be mad at that if you're a Cowboys fan? All right, you ready for this one? Number 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The draft is in Pittsburgh. And who do I have them taking? Wide receiver Denzel Boston out of Washington. A 6'4", 210, jump up and go get the ball type of wide receiver, big body guy. And you put him opposite DK Metcalf. Now you got two studs out there on the outside. I love this fit. This takes pressure off of DK Metcalf, and I just think Denzel Boston, I love the fit in Pittsburgh. And if you're trying to bring back Aaron Rodgers for one more year, this is the type of pick that'll get him excited, right? And you got new head coach Mike McCarthy, who's going to be calling plays. I just think this makes a lot of sense. And then this moves Calvin Austin, to your slots, your number 3. I just think the Steelers needed a number 2 wide receiver all season long last year. I wanted them to trade for somebody. They didn't do it. They wouldn't do it. Denzel Boston's exactly what they need. Yeah, I love this pick for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is expected to come back for another year, so that's exciting for Pittsburgh. Get him some more wide receiver help. They got new defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, who's a good DC, who's been with the Raiders for a few years. So I think it's positive vibes in Pittsburgh. I know fans aren't super excited about the hire of Mike McCarthy, but I just think Denzel Boston provides a spark to this offense and will help get DK Metcalf going as well. Plus you got those tight ends. I like that pick a lot for the Steelers. Let's go pick number 22. And again, very excited about this pick. I think it's a perfect fit for the LA Chargers. I'm going guard Vega Ione out of Penn State. A 6'4", 330 monster guard that can help protect Justin Herbert. And that offensive line is going to look incredible next year. As bad as it was this last year, right? With Justin Herbert getting his ass kicked all season long. Now you're talking about getting Joe Alt back, getting Rashawn Slater back. So you get your 2 starting tackles back who are both excellent players. And then you plug in a guard like Vega Ione. Look the hell out. This Chargers team is going to be very tough to stop next year if their offensive line is that good. You know how much Jim Harbaugh loves to build the trenches, right? And loves to be balanced and run the ball. And now you've got new offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel coming in. And I'm very excited to see what that offense looks like with Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel. That's a hell of a combination, and I think it's great for both guys to work together and to bounce ideas off of each other. I am very excited about this Chargers team next year, especially when you plug in a guy like Vega Ione. Omarion Hampton, duh, and then you got Najee Harris and Kamani Vidal. But Omarion Hampton, with that offensive line, healthy, and then Justin Herbert with a lot more time, a lot more protection. This Chargers team is going to be real in 2026 if they can stay healthy. Let's go pick number 23, the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is an interesting pick. I got them taking Caden Proctor, the tackle out of Alabama. And he's 6'7", 365. He's an absolute monster. It's a need because Lane Johnson is expected to retire. So it's definitely a need. They need to fill that hole. The NFL always does this. They sleep on certain guys and allow absolute monsters out of the SEC to fall right into the lap of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I feel like that's what's going to happen here. GM Howie Roseman is the absolute best at making magic happen every single draft. And if Caden Proctor is available here, I think he absolutely jumps at it and makes that pick. And if he can clean some stuff up and develop, he can be a hell of a steal at pick number 23 for the Eagles here. One thing I'm not sold on is the Eagles' new offensive coordinator, Sean Mannion, who is the Packers quarterback coach. I just feel like they're going from worse to worse. Ever since they lost Kellen Moore, Kevin Patullo was a bad hire, and I feel like Sean Mannion is a bad hire. That offense needs more imagination. We'll see what happens with A.J. Brown this offseason. But offensive line is a need, and so, hopefully Caden Proctor, we'll see if he's the pick, and if he is, hopefully he can develop and be an asset for the Eagles going forward. Let's go pick number 24, the Cleveland Browns. And I'm going wide receiver KC Concepcion out of Texas A&M, a 5'11", 190, absolute burner, absolute speedster. He can stretch a defense vertically. He can provide elite return ability. And then you add him to Jerry Jeudy and Isaiah Bond and Cedric Tillman. Wide receiver is a need. And so that's good for the Browns. They got a new head coach in Todd Monken, who's going to be calling plays. Likely Deshaun Watson starting at quarterback. They already took tackle Spencer Fanhouse, and now you go wide receiver KC Concepcion. So the Browns going offense here. Their defense has been elite, but no more Jim Schwartz. They're looking for a defensive coordinator at this moment. So we'll see. But the Browns a bit of a retooling time right now, and wide receiver is a need. KC Concepcion can fill that role and give them some much needed speed on that roster. Let's go pick number 25 to the Chicago Bears, and I'm going defensive tackle Caden McDonald out of Ohio State, a 6'3", 325 defensive tackle, a run stopper. Add him to Grady Jarrett and Javon Dexter. McDonald can help the Bears' bad run defense, help that get better. And he can also rush the passer up the middle, which is something the Bears need help at as well. So that makes sense. They could easily go edge. They could go T.J. Parker, Keldrick Folk, who I'm not super high on. But they need, multiple picks on the defensive line. They need pass rush help. They need to shore up the run defense. Defensive coordinator Dennis Allen knows that they need to improve off of a bad 2025. The secondary is pretty solid, so if they can address the D-line, that would go a long ways. And, the Bears looking to take another step. They had a very successful 2025. They want to keep building forward and improving that defense. Improving the D-line is a big step in that direction. So Caden McDonald makes a lot of sense to the Bears at number 25. They could also go Caleb Banks, who I'm actually higher on. I like Caleb Banks a lot. Caden McDonald's more of a consistent, not a super high upside, but consistent, low floor. Caleb Banks and Peter Woods are the guys that are super high ceilings, but super low floors. It's all or nothing, boom or bust. So the Bears go with a safe pick here, in my opinion, in Caden McDonald. Let's go pick 26. I love this pick a lot for the Buffalo Bills. I'm going linebacker C.J. Allen out of Georgia, 6'1", 235. This is a best-case scenario pick for the Buffalo Bills to have C.J. Allen available here, all the way down to pick 26. This guy is worthy of a top 20 pick for sure. I like this linebacker a lot. He's great at run stopping. He's got pass rushing ability, solid instincts, a hard-hitting linebacker. You want to know who he reminds me of? And I'm not just saying this because he's a Georgia linebacker. This dude reminds me of Roquan Smith. And I think this would be an absolute steal for the Bills defense. They're likely going to be losing linebackers Matt Milano and Shaq Thompson in free agency. So this is a need. And this is a luxury, this is a steal, a great value pick if you can get C.J. Allen here at pick 26 and improve that Bills defense with new defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard coming over from the Broncos. He was a longtime Wisconsin Badgers defensive coordinator. And we'll see what the Bills look like in 2026 with new head coach Joe Brady. So it's a new era for Buffalo, and C.J. Allen would be a great pick to try to fix that, get that defense performing better, and help the offense out, and try to go on a deep playoff run, take those next steps to try to get this team to a Super Bowl. So love that pick for the Bills at 26, linebacker C.J. Allen out of Georgia. Pick 27, the 49ers. I'm going defensive end T.J. Parker out of Clemson, 6'4", 265. Add him to Michael Williams and Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff. This dude had an incredible 2024 with 19.5 tackles for loss, 11 sacks. He had a bit of a down year in 2025, but so did the entire Clemson Tigers team. He had a great Senior Bowl, so his stock is definitely up. So the 49ers are hoping that he's available here at pick 27. So be an excellent value pick. They got a new defensive coordinator in Raheem Morris. But yeah, if he's available here at 27, that's a win for the 49ers. The Niners are going to be very talented. All they got to do is stay healthy, right? Last year they were so injury hit. So T.J. Parker to the Niners at pick 27 would be an absolute win. I love this pick here at 28. That's Houston Texans would run this pick to up. They would not need the full time limit to make this pick. If available, they're going to run this pick up, and that's defensive tackle Caleb Banks out of Florida. 6'6", 330 pounds. Imagine putting Caleb Banks on that D-line with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. The rich get richer. I mean, this is the number one defense in football last year, and you add Caleb Banks to that, that is nasty. That would be a monster defense. Now, they need to clean up the turnovers and the issues on offense, but that defense would be scary as hell if you add Caleb Banks to that. So, NFL, don't let that happen. Don't let Caleb Banks fall to the Texans. That would be scary. Caleb Banks is worthy of absolutely a top 20 pick. So, top 28 would be a great value pick for the Houston Texans. Pick 29 is an interesting pick. The second pick for the Rams here, late first round. And I go quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama. Matthew Stafford likely only has one more year left in the NFL. So they need to figure out their, quarterback of the future. They like Stetson Bennett, but you got to upgrade, in my opinion, and this makes a lot of sense to go Ty Simpson out of Alabama. You can sit him behind Stafford, who's a Super Bowl winner, has a ton of experience in this league. You can sit behind him, learn from him, develop under him, learn how to be a starter in the NFL. You can, sit in the practice, sit in the meeting rooms with Cliff Kingsbury and learn from Sean McVay. And I think that would be the best. That's exactly what Ty Simpson needs, in my opinion, too. You don't want him to be a rookie week one starter. You want him to come in, sit behind a veteran like Stafford, learn from him, learn how to play the position in the NFL, and then when you're ready, get out there and try to develop and improve and prove it on the field. But sitting behind Stafford, that would be an excellent plan for the Rams here at pick 29. After taking, would they take Jermod McCoy? No, they went Mekhi Lemon early on. So they do, they could go corner or something like that. But, you need to get quarterback eventually. So I feel like it's the right time, to get a guy like Ty Simpson here at pick 29. Pick 30 for the Denver Broncos. I got them taking linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. Add him next to Dre Greenlaw. They're expected to lose Alex Singleton and Justin Sternad to free agency. So this could be a little bit of a reach, but the Broncos need a linebacker. They could also go edge, whether that's Keldrick Falk or Akeem Mesidor. They could go corner, Brandon Cisse. To me, I go linebacker here. It's the biggest need. I go Anthony Hill Jr. here to continue to, keep that defense playing at an elite level. And we'll see if Von Miller ends up over there, what all the Broncos do this offseason. But yeah, let's go pick 31. And I originally, in my mock 1.0, I had Akeem Mesidor going here. But he's a little bit older. He's 25 years old. Keldrick Falk is still available. And I think this is an excellent value pick at number 31. If Keldrick Falk is still there, this makes a lot of sense for the Patriots. They're expected to lose K'Lavon Chaisson in free agency. Put Falk opposite Harold Landry. I think K. Falk on the Patriots is, kind of cool after Kevin Falk was there, winning Super Bowls with the Patriots. Keldrick Falk would be a nice pick. If you wanted, you could go Akeem Mesidor here, but he's a little bit older. He's already 25. You could go tackle Monroe Freeling. After the struggles we saw from Will Campbell in the Super Bowl, you could definitely move Will Campbell inside the guard and draft someone like Monroe Freeling. But I don't think the Patriots are ready to do that. I think they're going to stick with Will Campbell at tackle, develop him, get him playing better. Will Campbell said he had an injury that he was playing through, so that could be part of the issue. I just think if Keldrick Falk is available at 31, that's an excellent value pick, and it's a need. The Patriots need some more pass rush help. So Keldrick Falk seems like a good pick here for the Patriots at number 31. Let's go Seahawks. Let's round out the first round right here. Pick 32. The defending Super Bowl champs, Seattle Seahawks. I'm going corner, Brandon Cisse out of South Carolina. He would instantly be your number 2 corner opposite Devin Witherspoon. It looks like Reek Woolen and Josh Jobe are both expected to leave in free agency. So you add Brandon Cisse to Devin Witherspoon and Kobe Bryant. That defense is already elite. And Mike Macdonald, shout out Mike Macdonald, the first defensive play caller, head coach, to win a Super Bowl. So add corner Brandon Cisse and keep that defense rolling along. Try to win back-to-back in Seattle. So can't be mad at that if you're the Seahawks. Can't be mad at anything being defending Super Bowl champs for the second time in franchise history. So congrats to the Seattle Seahawks. Congrats to Sam Darnold on a turnover-free playoff run. Reminds me of Joe Flacco, the run that he went on. It was absolutely incredible. To go from leading the league in turnovers going into the playoffs to have none and win the Super Bowl, that's very incredible. And shout out Kenneth Walker, winning Super Bowl MVP. So guys that are still available that I really like. Edge Akeem Mesidor out of Miami. Tackle Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. Safety Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Defensive tackle Lee Hunter at Texas Tech. Guard Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. Tackle Blake Miller out of Clemson. Edge Zion Young out of Missouri. Defensive tackle Kristen Miller out of Georgia. I mean, that's a pick that the Broncos could look at as well, as Kristen Miller out of Georgia at number 30. I had him going there in my 1.0. I switched it to Anthony Hill Jr., but I like Kristen Miller a lot. He could potentially go first round. Safety Dylan Tieneman out of Oregon, I believe is how you say his name. I'm not sure. Edge R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. Tackle Jennings Dunker out of Iowa, the mullet guy. He could go, the Lions, the Packers. He seems like a Big Ten NFC North type pick. You know what I mean? Wide receiver Zachariah Branch is an absolute speedster. Wherever he goes is going to be an excellent addition. 3 edges in a row here. You got Romello Height out of Texas Tech. I like him a lot. LT Overton out of Alabama is an excellent prospect. Edge Derek Moore out of Michigan was showing out at the Senior Bowl. Linebacker Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. He's an excellent prospect. And safety Kamari Ramsey out of USC I like a lot as well. So excellent value, going into the second round. This draft is very deep. I could go 3 rounds in, with all the talent that is out there. You look at the wide receiver value in the second round and day 2. You got both Indiana wide receivers, right? Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt. You got Chris Brazzell, Chris Bell out of Louisville. There's so much talent in this draft. The Notre Dame wide receiver, right? So, yeah, we're going to probably be doing a 2-round mock, maybe with our 3.0. So stay tuned, man. This is going to conclude my mock draft 2.0, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm excited. I know, the Combine. So me and Amanda are going to be at the Combine. My co-host Amanda, we're both going to Indianapolis for the Combine. John Abraham's going to be there. Chad Brown, Hugh Jackson. We're going to be taking pics with these guys, taking video. We're going to do an episode at the Combine with me and Amanda. We're going to be shaking hands with national media. So this is a great time, if you're not already subscribed and following along with this podcast, to do it now, because I really am excited about the future. I think this is going to be the best year to date, the best year ever for this podcast. We're gaining momentum. We're gaining subscribers. We're getting some really cool guests, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I appreciate all you guys who have supported us since the beginning. And, things are getting exciting. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys all so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think of my picks and who you want your team to draft. And have a great week, guys. And stay tuned for our next mock draft, our next interview. We'll be putting some stuff out. And, appreciate all you guys. Have a great week. And peace out.